The day I announced I was joining the police academy, my own family burst into laughter. But years later, their smiles vanished when Forbes published an article naming me the federal agent behind one of the biggest raids in U.S. history. The moment I told my family I was applying to the police academy, the room erupted in laughter. Not the polite kind, but the kind that stings, sarcastic, loud, and full of disbelief. My older brother nearly choked on his drink, and my uncle slapped the table, wiping tears from his eyes as he said, "You? A cop? You can't even chase your own shadow." My father didn't laugh, but the way he shook his head said enough. I was always the quiet one, the so-called weak one, the one who didn't talk back or fight for attention. I guess that made it easy for them to doubt me. But what they didn't know was that I had spent years watching everything, watching how people treated each other, how crime broke lives, and how justice could restore dignity. I didn't want to be a cop for power or pride. I wanted to protect the people no one looked out for, people like me. The academy wasn't easy. From day one, we were pushed to our limits, physically, mentally, emotionally. There were moments I wanted to quit, moments where the doubts crept back in. But then I'd remember my brother's mocking laugh, or my cousin saying I'd probably quit in a week. That kept me going. Every mile I ran, every push-up I struggled through, I imagined their voices, and I turned their doubt into fuel. I studied hard, stayed focused, and built discipline like a wall around my mind. I didn't party, didn't waste time trying to prove anything to anyone. I had a purpose, and that was enough. When graduation day came, I looked out into the crowd, hoping maybe someone from my family had come. But the seats I had reserved stayed empty. No phone call, no message, nothing. I stood alone as I received my badge, but I held my head high. I was proud of what I had done, even if they weren't. My first few years on the force were all about proving myself to people who didn't know me. I took every assignment seriously, from patrolling traffic to responding to domestic calls. In rough neighborhoods, I kept my mouth shut and did my job. I didn't complain about night shifts or paperwork. I knew that trust had to be earned. Eventually, my hard work began to speak for itself. I was asked to assist with more sensitive cases, and slowly, my name started to circulate among higher-ups. I wasn't looking for recognition, I was building a foundation. Still, every time I walked into a crime scene or filed a report, I could hear those old voices in my head, laughing at the idea of me ever wearing a badge. But with each step forward, those voices faded. I was no longer the person they doubted, I was becoming the officer I always knew I could be. And though my family still saw me as the same quiet kid from the block, they had no idea that I was quietly rising, one mission at a time, towards something far bigger than they ever imagined. Years passed, and the same badge they once mocked had become the symbol of everything I had fought for. I never chased headlines or praise, I chased justice, and with every successful operation, I proved to myself that I belonged. I kept my head down and continued to serve, often working undercover. Sometimes leading high-risk raids, but always staying true to the mission. Eventually, I was recruited into a federal task force targeting organized crime. The work was intense, the hours brutal, but I thrived under pressure. I had found my calling, not just enforcing the law, but strategizing the operations that dismantled criminal networks from the inside out. The moment that changed everything came during a massive federal raid involving multiple agencies across 3 states. It was a case we had been building for over a year: surveillance, wiretaps, informants, and airtight planning. And when the day came, I was chosen to lead the raid. I coordinated the entire operation: timing, logistics, safety protocols. Dozens of lives were in my hands, and I didn't flinch. The raid was a success. We shut down a major drug syndicate that had plagued communities for years. The bust made national news, and to my surprise, Forbes ran a feature story not on the criminals, but on the agent behind the mission: me. The officer who brought down a criminal empire, the headline read, with my name and photo just beneath it. The article praised my strategic mind, leadership, and relentless pursuit of justice. I sat in silence as I read the piece, not out of pride, but disbelief. This wasn't just recognition, it was a full-circle moment. The quiet kid they said would never amount to anything was now being recognized on a national stage. That same evening, my phone started buzzing non-stop. Messages from people I hadn't spoken to in years. Old classmates. Former neighbors. But the ones that hit hardest came from home. My brother messaged, "Just saw the article. I was wrong about you." My cousin wrote, "Proud of you, man." Even my father, a man of few words, sent a text that simply said, "You did good." No explanations. No apologies. Just silence. Turn to respect. And honestly, I didn't need more than that. I had already let go of the anger. I wasn't living for their approval anymore. I was living for the purpose I chose, for the people I protected, and for the younger version of me who refused to give up when the world laughed. I didn't reply to the messages right away. I just looked at the Forbes article one more time, set my phone down, and stepped outside. The city skyline glowed in the distance, and somewhere out there, more people needed protecting. I took a deep breath and smiled, not because I had proven them wrong, but because I had proven myself right. My journey didn't end with a raid or a headline, it ended with peace. And that was worth more than any applause. If this story inspired you, drop a comment, like the video, and share it with someone chasing their dreams. Subscribe now to The Silent Revenge for more powerful true stories of redemption and silent triumph.